Spotify CEO got roasted by artists after he said the cost of creating content is close to zero. Now he's trying to walk back his, quote, clumsy remark. And this is Daniel Ek. Daniel Ek, the CEO of Spotify. Let's go. He triggered backlash from the music industry last week when he said the cost of creating content is close to zero, prompting him to clarify his remarks on Sunday. In a post on May 29th, Eck mused that society is witnessing a resurgence of Stoicism, a philosophy adopted by Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. But he started off by irritating some of the musicians that contribute to the platform. Today, the cost of creating content being close to zero. People could share an incredible amount of content. This has sparked my curiosity about the concept of long shelf life versus short shelf life. Today, with the cost of creating content being close to zero, people can share an incredible amount of content. Yeah, okay, we saw that. So, now, I kind of get what he's saying. Because they host podcasts, and they also host music. And to do a podcast, if you're good, you can just turn on a mic, go, and, you can almost for free just rant on. And if people like it, they'll click on it. If not, they won't. So what's interesting about this, and when it comes to music specifically and podcasting, I'm not trying to say that there's no... that it's not free. I think what he's leaving out, and I think that may have gotten misinterpreted possibly, is that time that it took for you to acquire the skills to be able to play music, to produce music, the skill to market your music, the time that it took for you to learn how to do a podcast, how to talk into a microphone for hours on end, how all this stuff. The biggest point here, I think, is that time is the most valuable thing we have, right? It's the most valuable thing we can take for granted. It's the most valuable thing that we can utilize. And the fact that he's going to go ahead and say that, and I get it, like if you bought the equipment already and now you can just make music whenever, and that's just, I get that. But it's all time, and that's all relative to cost. It costs money to do this. Never mind that it costs money to upload your music or your podcast. It costs money not for your podcast. Well, it can. Hosting can be expensive. Hosting your podcast. I mean, this show right here, we pay. It's hosted by what the hell is that? Fucking SoundCloud, and you pay a monthly fee. Now, there's other places where you can have your podcast be heard that doesn't charge, and I believe, what is that? I can't remember the name, but there are some things out there, but hosting fees cost, uploading your music to a website like CD Baby, like that can cost hundreds of dollars. It's not a cheap thing, especially for musicians and artists who already have problems affording to live their life in this stupid asshole economy right now. Like, who isn't eating shit right now, right? Like, who isn't eating the biggest pile of shit? Gas prices are up. Food costs are up. Rent. I'm saying, in my neighborhood, we moved to the east side of Toledo, and in the east side, bro, like, this is kind of a trashy part of the country or city. On the east side, houses are going for $100,000. Okay, if you knew the east side of Toledo, you'd be like, what the fuck? This is crazy stuff that's going on right now. So it's hard to even be a musician, to be an artist, to be a podcaster, especially if this is your only job. So you got to think about the time, your rent, your electricity bill. You got to think about how I'm going to fucking silence this air conditioner. By the way, I'm sorry the air conditioner is still going here. It's like 100 degrees with 85% humidity. It's butthole hot outside. So the air conditioner stays, folks. The air conditioner stays. I hope it's not too much of a distraction for y'all. We're working on fixing that. But the fact that he would so carelessly just throw that around, that the cost of making content is almost zero. It's like the accumulation of your entire life's work. Right? It's the accumulation of all the sweat you put into buying that keyboard. It's the accumulation of all the time that you put into, speaking into a microphone, and the light bill, the power bill, putting up fucking soundproofing because this stupid studio is not soundproofed yet, right? Like, the cost of all that stuff goes into each performance, each track you lay, each podcast you put out. Money has gone into it. So for him to say it's virtually zero, that's just billionaire talk for, like, let the peasants give me free stuff, and I won't pay them. Because let's not forget that as of this year on Spotify, you don't even get royalties for music played that doesn't hit 1,000 plays. Whereas before, people could play, you could get 400 plays on a song and still at least get something, 0.0000001 penny, right, for that play. But now they have made it harder for independent musicians who are trying to get by on music. And, of course, you don't get paid for podcasts on Spotify, so whatever. But, it's good to be on that platform. So musicians, songwriters, and producers, among others, immediately took to social media and criticized X's comment, with some pointing out that the considerable costs associated with music included for training, equipment, and production, like we were saying. In reply, X posed new age artist Cheryl B. Englehart said she has put thousands of dollars into her music. Yeah, and let's not think about the people who are actually paying a lot of money for studio time. Like, I don't pay for studio time, not directly, not anymore, right? Like, I already bought all this stuff. Like, this streaming rig is my studio. My laptop is my studio. So I can go anywhere and do that, right? Like, I have this little... because I'm a lazy producer, I will make a lot of stuff just sitting on my couch with this and a laptop. Which, by the way, if you should go out and check out Gail Hakes West's latest EP, which I produced. Go check it out. It's pretty awesome. It's called Elephant in the Room. It's Gail Hakes West. Go check that shit out. I produced, mixed, mastered everything, and it sounds great. I'm very proud of it. And if you like indie acoustic pop, you will like this. She is an amazing artist. In any case, I made a lot of that on this, right? Like, and then I had to break out like my bigger pianos for other parts, because you can't just play piano on this thing. Like, this is ridiculous. But in any case, there are artists out there who go to studios. Thank you, air conditioner. Shut up. People go to studios and pay a lot of money independently to put out albums. It costs thousands of dollars, especially people who want like real horns and a string section, and you want great musicians who can come in and knock it out. Like, these cost lots of money. I'm a producer. I can just sort of fake my way through songs. So I'm not too worried about paying people unless I really need something in particular, like a string section or something. And even that, you can farm out to Fiverr, which is crapshoot. But let's see. Oh my God, come on. I created my Grammy-nominated album on a cross-country train, completely produced and mixed it myself, said Englehart. I was able to do that because of the thousands of dollars spent on quality sounds, my education, my gear. Please get a clue and maybe talk to real musicians. Another indie artist, Shimmer Johnson, called Eck out of touch. I would say so. Yeah, it's billionaire speak. They don't know what the serfs are doing. He's just like, give me your music so I can not pay you for it. Don't say stuff if you have no actual proper anything to compare it to. Great, you're a billionaire off of everyone else's hard work and time. Congrats. On Sunday, Eck tried to clarify his comments, saying that his earlier definition of content was clumsy. I understand how it came across as very reductive, and that wasn't my intent. Just to clarify, my original point was not to devalue the time, effort, and resources involved in creating meaningful works, whether it's music, literature, or other forms of creative expression, Eck wrote. He added that the cost of creation tools like microphones, laptops, cameras has come down, leading to a surge in the amount of content people can produce. Right. So I get what he's saying, right? Like, I get that it's very saturated now. Now that these things are accessible, people are able to produce and put out content by the gobs, right? Just a huge amount of content. Whereas back in, as late as like maybe the early 2000s, making your own music in your home studio still costs thousands of dollars. Now you can get a cheap laptop and make a whole song or create a podcast and put it out into the world. Again, like with podcasts, what's that one thing? Oh God, Gary Vee made the podcast. It's a website. Like, I think you can like record a podcast directly onto your phone and it'll go directly to your RSS feed and out into the world on Apple, iTunes, podcast and Spotify and all those places, be distributed out there. So it has gotten exponentially easier to access. It's not easier. I would say it's become exponentially accessible for a lot of people. And it is a saturated market, which he's not wrong about. But yes, I do think what he was saying was clumsy, especially coming from someone who has decided not to pay people, especially indie artists, 1,000 plays. Which I'm thankful that all my songs on Spotify have over 1,000 plays, which I appreciate you guys. But the fact that, he just so willy-nilly, just like, I don't care. Fuck these people. It's terrible. And it's insulting. It really is insulting. It's like the king saying, like, well, why can't they go out and just buy some cheese? It's like, bitch, because everyone's starving and you have all the gold, right? Like, maybe give me some of that gold. Hey. All right, that was dumb. He added, Spotify has been criticized in the past for not paying artists, especially smaller musicians, their fair share for their content. X comments also come as Spotify on Monday announced its second price hike in a year. Let's go. Pew, pew, pew. I don't have my iPad hooked up, guys. Individual U.S. subscribers will now have to pay $11.99, $1 more a month for ad-free streaming. I don't even use Spotify that much anymore. Now, especially that Rogan's on YouTube again, I don't even use Spotify. There's like maybe one podcast I listen to on Spotify. YouTube Premium, folks. It's hard not to it's hard to pass that up because it's a little pricey, but what you get with it is incredible. I love YouTube Premium. It comes with YouTube Music, by the way. That's what I was saying. But yeah, now that Rogan's off Spotify, I don't really even fucking care about Spotify. So I get it. People are leaving it, especially, I bet that hit them hard. That whole JRE going to back out into all these different spaces like YouTube and Apple iTunes and such. This update will help us continue delivering value to fans, Spotify said in a statement. Ugh. Meanwhile, the company reported a record profit in the first quarter following cost-cutting measures last year that saw it lay off more than a quarter of its employees and scale down plans for its podcast business, in part by cutting original shows. See, and that's the thing, right? They laid off a bunch of people. They stopped paying. Let me see. I think Google AI. Let's see. So last November, tracks must have at least what? Fuck that AC unit. It's just killing me, guys. I'm so sorry that you guys got to hear that. Tracks must have at least 1,000 streams in a year to generate royalties, and tracks that don't will no longer be paid. Royalties from these tracks will instead be given to bigger artists. So even if you get 999 streams in 1 year, all the money that was accumulated, with all the money, right? All the money that is accumulated from that will go to Justin Bieber or Ariana Grande or Olivia Rodrigo. Yeah, she's one of the new people, right? It's horrifying. Spotify claims this change will reduce streaming fraud and give more revenue to emerging and professional artists. However, some say the policy will hurt small and new artists. No shit. And look at this. They had record profits in their first quarter from laying people off, not paying people their fair share, which they've never paid anybody their fair share, and scaling down podcast business and cutting original shows. So, yay! Thanks, Spotify. You fucking twat. So, they're also adding a new feature, which this is just turning into an ad for Spotify at this point, but we're going to do it in a way where it makes sense for us, for our followers. Spotify Super Premium is on its way. I was trying to do because he's from the Netherlands, right? They're from the Netherlands. I don't know. Anyways, higher audio, but at a price. So they're going to try this whole thing. What was the one called? Didn't Neil Young have something that we're trying to do something like that? I don't know. It's really hard to get CD quality streaming. It takes a lot of up or download speed. They got to upload the stuff. It's not easy. I'm sure there's a lot involved in this. After years of rumors, Spotify's Super Premium subscription looks set to arrive later this year. It's coming. It's been coming for a long time. Spotify first announced that it was looking into setting up a CD quality streaming premium service back in 2021. After a presentation, Spotify co-president Gustav Soderstrom told the Verge website that Spotify are going to do it high five. Now, according to Bloomberg, the service will arrive later this year and will be priced at least $5 more per month. So $5 more per month for your super premium. Okay, that was the thing. Last year, The Independent reported that the new service would retail about $20 a month. However, if Super Premium involves an extra $5, they would bump it up to $16.99. So there you go, guys. They're not only screwing people, but they're going to try to get music to sound better. See, I can see why audiophiles would like this. But you think about the average user of Spotify and how many people are sitting there like, oh man, if only there was more depth to this music, man. And trust me, it's crazy. First of all, most people, to the common consumer, their ears aren't even trained to do that, to hear the difference, okay? Like, I can hear immediately the difference between this microphone and the other microphone, the Audio Technica microphone. This fucking, $50 microphone compared to that $500 microphone. I heard the difference immediately, and I don't even have to listen to a side by side because I've talked into that microphone for the last 3-4 years. And now I'm talking into this tinny piece of shit, and I hope it don't sound horrible, but this is what we're working with, folks. I'm sorry. This is what happens when you have to split up all the gear. Like, me and my wife had a computer divorce. I got the tower streaming set up, and I got the Zoom Live Track 8. But she got the nice microphone. And that's fine. I don't mind. And she got the nice monitor. We found this old Dell. I got this monitor that you're seeing right now, which you can't tell anything, but I'm looking at it. It's kind of a piece of shit. I found it in the trunk of my mom's car, and she don't know how it got there. So whatever, we use it. She got the nice HD setup. Anyways, nothing to do with this, but the point is that I hear the difference between CD quality and just regular Spotify quality. And I remember the first time I heard this is when my wife got her music done at a beautiful mastering house and they specialize in analog recordings, which my wife's album 2017, I don't remember what she used to call it, Ray Mystique's album, but it was all recorded on analog and sent to a beautiful mastering house. And when you hear it on CD and then you hear it on Spotify, it's night and day. For me, someone who's been in audio for a very long time, I've been mixing and mastering for a very long time. So I'm trying to make the point, and I'm not trying to say I'm better than anybody. I'm just saying my ears are tuned and toned, are in tune to these subtle changes in audio. And I don't think that charging $5 more a month, I know there's a lot of people out there who are going to be like, oh, I could tell, and that's fine, right? It's like the people who get these really expensive record players and they love their vinyl, and I'm right there with you, homie. I'm right there with you. But I understand there's a lot of audiophiles, but thinking about the average consumer of music and content off of Spotify, you can fucking bet your bottom dollar that they are not even going to be able to tell the difference between the quality of sound. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, folks. Don't get mad at me, audiophiles. I understand you're out there listening to music just like everybody else. Whatever. But you got to think about it. How many of these kids who are on family plans listening to fucking Lil Uzi Vert is sitting there like, man, if only this was like more rich and depth, I could hear all the fucking depth of the room in the recording. Oh, bro, they're not, okay? They're not fucking worried about that. So I applaud Spotify for trying, but only time will tell to see how this goes. And that's it. That's all. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one, folks.